Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Rambling Toffee podcast. I'm Mark. I hope everybody's had a good weekend. Um, what can I say? Another weekend. If in the footballing life of an Evertonian, another performance, another disappointing performance. Um, Trying to find any kind of positivity. So, in today's podcast, of course, obviously, we're going to talk about the Manchester United game. Um, and what what can we do next? What can we do next? We've got now 3 weeks off until the Bournemouth game away, and this 3 weeks is going to be pivotal, not just on the field but off it. So yes, we'll talk about the takeover, which is dragging on again, and also what we could see, or speculate what we could see in 3 weeks' time, what could happen. And hopefully, that's all we have. Hope that, in the 3 weeks that we have away from games that are, for us, that we come back refreshed, come back more charged, players, are revitalized, and come back and put in a good performance and actually try and get some points on the board and try and move away from, the foot of the table. Yes, we've got also the charge, of course. It's in pen pending, so we'll find out about that at some point. It's just, never ending. That for me, for each podcast that I do, it's always about the hope, the light at the end of the tunnel, the hope that this game or this takeover will happen and they will come in and do wonderful things and revitalize the club, not just on the field but off it. But anyway, I'll talk more about that as we go through this podcast, and how I feel, the way things are going to go. I hope will go. But, I start these podcasts on a Monday each week, and the hope I always give is that we've had a good performance, we played well, but we still come away with defeat. But I try to find something positive from it. So let's get started. Game on Saturday, obviously Manchester United 2, Everton nil. The team obviously was the same as the West Ham game. Nothing, no changes. And from my point of view, watching the game was it was same old, really. We created loads of opportunities, but we weren't clinical enough, and we weren't. It was just like, as much as you can work hard or work. And one of the things I'm going to say is that we got ourselves into positions, opportunities, chances. And it's just like how it's always been this season. Mostly at home, not away. Our away performances and our away um, games that we've had, we've been okay. We've been getting performance results. We're getting draws or we are picking up wins. That is what's getting us to, if we don't have the points deduction, get to 31, 32 points. That is because of our away form. Because our home form, obviously, we all know this, has been terrible at best, And 3 wins in for the whole of this season is just shocking. And but for some reason, from some way, Sean Dyche is set up with the players away from home, which is I'm finding is very, very similar to what he does at home. He sets it up exactly the same way. But away from home, obviously you are the away team. We can discuss this, but and your home team is going to have the advantage, the more the possession. You set up in a way that you will have breakaways and you're going to get opportunities by be more defensive and then breaking away when you've got a chance to get forward. That's what happened against Manchester United, and that's what's happened most of the season away from home. And I can keep talking about home form, but basically we set up tactically in formation and everything else about how, as per usual, with the same amount of players. Yes, we've got consistency of the same players playing week in and week out, but at home we should be the one getting forward, taking advantages and getting forward and trying something different. And putting the performances in where we are the team, we're the home side, we're the attacking team, we're the ones that have most of the possession, we're the ones that create a lot of the opportunity and being clinical at home. We that being at home is the advantage. That's why you're a home team. You get the advantage from that. You've got your fans behind you supporting you. Away from home, it's different. You have to set up in a different way because you're going to have vast majority of the stadium being their home fans. They're going to be right behind the team, getting right behind them. You are set up to go forward and actually, to create more opportunities than you do, have more of the possession. That is how it normally is always been set up in any kind of football. So away from home, I can understand how we set up and how that team was. But it's all well and good against Manchester United and it happened again. But it seems to be that game was like being at home, where basically we created opportunities, we got ourselves into position. I think how was it, about 10 shots on target or something like that, or was it 5 shots on target from the stat? But we created something like 22 chances, but we only create a certain amount where the goalkeeper had to go and save it or it was on target. But when we got them on target, this is where the confidence is gone in our attacking sense, is that we can get ourselves into position. We're doing that well, and that's okay. We're getting ourselves into positions to create opportunities, but the players that we want to score those goals, Beto, who started, you've got Dwight McNeil, Harrison, Anana, you've got Garner as well, you've got the midfield and your attack. When they've got the opportunity and they've got themselves in a position to shoot and they're not being clinical enough and they're becoming basic, like, oh, I'm in a position, and they're getting. I don't know if they're getting nervous about it. Their confidence has obviously been knocked, and they just lash at it, and it just becomes a basic save, or it goes wide, or whatever. And that's what was happening, and that's what's been happening at home. Away from home, we have been creating chances, and we have actually been scoring goals in games this season. And Doucouré has been pivotal to that in away games. But on Saturday, it was just same old. We got ourselves an opportunity. Manchester United are not a great team. They've got some good players, but they're a poor football team, and they're just plodding along in the league, and seem to be picking up results because of those one or two players that they have, like Canacho and Rashford. On occasions, he shows the potential. But as much as they got 2 penalties, and if you think about a lot of the chances that they created, they didn't really create that much. We did have the opportunities, and if they went in, but again, it's about being clinical. It's being in that position and being confident enough to get in that position and go, right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. And it's something mentally is going wrong, but also it's confidence. The player's confidence is shot. And we can look at the wider picture here, and it's very, very simple. The wider picture is we've had a 10-point deduction. We've been reduced to 6-point deduction. We've had some points back. So obviously, external forces is having an issue with these players in a psychological sense. And they are probably trying hard, they're working hard, they're probably putting all the effort into trying. Or are they? Because the impression I was getting from that game was the shots that they had were half-hearted. It was like, and I'm not being critical. I'm going to criticize the whole team. And it's all well and good. I'll say that the standout performers were probably more in your defensive side, and that's Jared Braithwaite was the only one that I felt out of everybody in the team. Tarkowski had a game as well, to an extent. He gave the penalty away, but Braithwaite was above everybody else in that team on Saturday. And he's going to go on to become an absolute fantastic player in the future, but it's not going to be at Everton Football Club. You can see it. You can see the difference between him and everybody else in that team. I know you've got Anana. Anana, you can see also the potential where he's going to go, but also he's been very inconsistent with his performances. And he can show what he's capable of, show what a kind of player he's going to become. And that's why he's got all the speculation. I think at the moment there's stories about Manchester United interested in him and Jared Branthwaite in the summer. So you can see they have all the potential and they're going to go forward. But the rest of the team, much of a muchness. And, you know, you've got Dwight McNeil, who is going through a really, really bad patch. He needs, I think a lot of people, including myself, felt that maybe we need to play him on a centre, move Harrison over to his position, and look at Dobbin. Okay, Dobbin, when he did come on Saturday, he had that really gilt-edged opportunity. He didn't make an impact the way we want to, but give him more opportunities. If you taking gambles and taking risks, well, why not? Life's too short. And this is when it gets to the big picture. So that game is done and dusted. You know, again, the weekend, teams below have been defeated. You know, Sheffield United and Burnley. Luton took a point. Burnley took a point. But Sheffield United lost again, obviously. And, you know, we are still, with those points back, we are still in that position where we're getting away with it. But we can't keep on losing football matches. And we have to, in any way possible, when we come to play Bournemouth in 3 weeks' time, is to be more dynamic, to try something different, try different players, try different formations, try something different to see if it works. Because the setup that is being set up at the moment, especially at home, the formation, the tactics, everything that is being put in place, these players have been drilled into because they are playing it, is not working. And as much as we can keep us talking about XG, and we're going to be, if we had put these balls in the back of the net, if we scored these goals, we would be further up the table. We would be challenging for the European spots further up if the goals had gone in. But this just shows you that there is something there that we can play with, but those attacking players are not clinical enough. They're not scoring enough. We've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's not scored in how many games? 20, 21, 22 games. You got Beto, who is starting at the moment because he's actually did score the other week. Okay, he missed a penalty against West Ham, but he's working hard. He's trying to get positions, but he's not being clinical enough when he's got the ball and the opportunities are there. You've got Dwight McNeil, who we saw early on before Christmas, and then when things started to go down and injuries started to take off, when he scored against Chelsea and that wonderful goal against Newcastle, and you saw that confidence in the way that he's playing, and you saw the players with full of confidence because we got team working, and we were creating opportunities, and we were scoring goals, and we were doing really, really well. And you can see it. When I felt, is this the momentum? Is this what we needed? But then all of a sudden, injuries came along. Referee decisions went against us. And then it's just, ever since then, we've just got a steady decline. And as much as those players, and they can probably say, oh, we've gone out there, we're working hard, we're trying. I'm watching games, and this is not a criticism. I'm trying not to criticize, but we're seeing situations where little moments where, like Dwight McNeil not sprinting back to try and stop them when they got the penalty, just jogging back. It was like fed up. They're just like, we're trying, and then it's like giving up, and that then turns down to a mentality. They're not mentally strong enough to fight. So when you go one down from a penalty, you've worked to create opportunities. The ball's not going in there. The mindset is, and that's what it feels like. If I was a player and week in, week out, you got into opportunities, you got chances, they're not going in, they're going wide, they're being mishit, the goalkeeper's making saves, whatever. And instead of keep on going, 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 and get that opportunity, that look, get moment, it will happen. But it just seems to we fly off and we play, create the opportunities, but when they don't go in, you start seeing players' confidence just going backwards. And for me, that's where mentality comes in, the psychology and all that other stuff starts kicking in with players. And if they're not scoring, and it's happening with the strikers, your strikers are there to score goals, and they're both not doing it. If not, Sean Dyche, and this is when I put a poll out there on social media on X. Please, I think it's equal hours left on it. I asked a question on there, basically a poll. Do you think it was on Saturday's performance? Do you think it was the team or the manager, or was it the team or the man and the manager together that's to blame for that performance? And most of the people, about 68%, said that it was both. Not just the team or the players, it's also on the manager and the coaches setting up that team. And this is week in, week out now. You're seeing it. And as a fan going to a home game as a season ticket holder, and all I have, like every fan of every club, it doesn't matter, hope. Hope that you see positive performance, getting forward, creating opportunity, scoring a performance that you can be proud of and be happy about. But you go there with that hope, and instantly you watch. And what we're seeing is same old, same old. It's set up the same way. We can say, well, he did try going with two strikers. It didn't work. So he's tried it at home. But sometimes you have to try something different. Still go with 4-4-2. Try that. Try Dobbin. Try Chimiti. Try something different. Move people around. Try something to revitalise and do something different. If it doesn't work, okay, you tried something, but that's the job of the coach and the manager and his coaches. And hopefully, this 3 weeks, they're in Belgium, warm weather training. Is hope. It's a bonding exercise, and that baffled me a little bit. Bonding exercise, where basically they're bonded anyway on the training field throughout the season and how long they've been together. You would think they'd be bonded. Why is going away is going there just for a bonding session? You're going to train, obviously. What's that going to achieve? I hope that they all go there, they all sit round and basically try and figure out a way that we can get wins and get performances. And that's not just on the players being, talking about what we could do and what we could try and trying something differently and start a clean slate scenario, like having a new manager coming in and the new manager thinking of ways that you can get better performances. Sean Dyche should also stop being so strict and structured in a way, and he needs to change himself. He needs to decide, right, okay, admit that he has been making errors on substitutions. I know people say substitutions, making them too late, should be making them early. He should be doing that more often. He should be proactive in the decisions that he's making on the field. If he's seeing something not working, if a player's not performing the way that you want him to do, you go, right, okay, let's change this. And you can look at the bench and go, I don't have a player that can do. But You've got the players there. Do something about it. Simple, innit? Try something different. You've got, Chimiti on the bench. He's come on, he's played, and when he's had played, he's got himself in the positions. Give him an opportunity. Why not? Have confidence in the players. But the biggest concern I have at this moment in time is he's had an interview and mentioned about the academy players, and he's not confident about these academy players. Bringing them through, he's put players from the under 23s onto the bench, but he's never played them. That is a concerning thing to me. That basically he doesn't have any confidence in players who are playing the under 23s or whatever to come through and to stake a claim and get into the first team. And that is a big concern, because if you want a club to grow and go forward, you need to have good young players coming through your academies that's going to break into the first team and make a stake a claim and get themselves in the team and play minutes and play games and get more confident. And we've got a valuable player there that's come through our academy system. That's what we want. But he has no confidence in bringing them through. That's a concern. So what's happening? He's got the senior players that he has, and he's more confident. He believes, I'm going to focus on them, bringing them players on, giving them an opportunity. So it's like to dob him. He scored against Chelsea, obviously. He needs minutes. He needs games. Why don't you throw him in, give him an opportunity? There's nothing to lose. If it doesn't work, this is the key. If it doesn't work and he doesn't perform or doesn't do what you want, take him out. Put Dan Juma on when he's back from his injury, or you change things up. Do something. That's it. But he's not doing it. He needs to change himself to actually be a little bit more, take more risks and more gambles. If things don't work, try something different. Because at the moment, all I'm seeing home and away, and as much as it's working away to an extent this season, in the players he has, he's he's just keeping it as it is. He's keeping the structure as it is. He's keeping the formation, the tactics, everything as it is. And this is the thing. The biggest and the other thing that I get frustrated about, and it needs to stop, is using Jordan Pickford as the main person to take free kicks at the back and launching them into the box and hoping for drop downs. That's all. 90% of the time, it's been drop downs. It's not been trying to hit the wings. And yes, we've seen that against Manchester United. We've seen it against West Ham. We've seen it games where we create opportunities. We put ourselves, but it's like mostly comes from a lot of drop downs, and you're trying to put so much pressure on someone like Beto, who runs the channels, but he's not, as much as he's tall, he's not Dominic Calvert-Lewin when it comes to getting drop downs from headers to get the ball down. That's what's all it's like. You're hoping to get the ball from a drop down, that your midfielder's there, it's going forward. Something has to give. This is 3 weeks. This 3 weeks, something has to give. And if they come back against Bournemouth, it's going to be a tough game, obviously. And it's same old again, and nothing's changed. And then you have to look at the manager, the coaches, the people that are coaching these players every day for games. What are they doing? Why isn't it not working? And this is what frustrates me. Sean Dyche has done okay with the players that we have. He's come in, kept us up last season. If we didn't have the points deduction, yes, we could have been mid-table. We could have been a different conversation, different story. But even throughout this season, as much as we got this far, there's no progression. There's no plan or pattern to the way we play football. You watched the game yesterday. You saw players right at the top of their game. And the mentality, the want to win, the determination, but they know how to play. They work on patterns. Everybody's a footballer. He can be world class or not. if you're coached right and coached in the right way, you can play like that. But the mentality's wrong. The players, are they good enough for the Premier League? I've said before. Are they good enough for the Premier League? Are they Championship standard? My view is this, that at the moment there are players in that team who are Championship level. There are players that can play in the Premier League, but only can play to a certain level. They're not players that can go to the top level, and they've hit, it's a balanced mid-table area roughly. They can play to that level. The only player at the moment, there's a couple of players. There's only Branthwaite. I keep saying Arna, and Arna hit and miss with an Arna, but Branthwaite consistently week in week out puts in performance, and you know what you're going to get with him, and you know where he's going. But the rest of the players, you're not seeing that. And we can talk about on Saturday his persistence of playing Godfrey, who is a centre back. And yes, and I've said he had in a couple of games against Fulham, he played really well against Fulham, and some games he's actually played okay in that position. But we're seeing the weakness that he is, and we've got right backs on the bench, Seamus Coleman and Patterson. Patterson is not there yet, and I think his confidence is not getting. You should put Seamus back in there. I'm not sure how old he is. It doesn't matter. He's committed and puts in. He knows what he's doing, but he's stuck with Godfrey. And you're asking the question why when he's not a right back. He's a centre back. He's playing that position, and he's trying to do his job. But at the end of the day, it's not his position. It's not strong enough in that position. So you have to go with a player that is. So again, it's a question you ask the manager. So yeah, this is pivotal 3 weeks because it's not just this 3 weeks now because we would have been playing Liverpool. Obviously, they're in the FA Cup and everything else. So we've got now a 3 week period between we play Bournemouth. We've got some big games going to come up against Sheffield United, Burnley, Brentford at home. So we've got some home games that we need to get points on the board. And we've got this charge, second charge that's upcoming. So we'll find out what we get with that. So yeah. So this is the position what I feel, but what I will say, and long term, and I tend to go with big pictures. I like to draw big pictures and big plans and how I would like to see Everton going forward. But at the moment, we're sinking and sinking very, very fast. And I just hope that we can pull ourselves out of this situation and we can still be in the Premier League for next season. That's my hope. And I think everybody else has the same opinion. Hopefully, we can find a bit of form. Hopefully, this 3 weeks that we have away from the game itself, hopefully they come back refreshed and ready and want to prove a point that they can get results and pull themselves away from the mire that we currently have, currently in and could go into. So on that front, so yes, so that's my take. But as I mentioned about big pictures, for me, we need clarification on the takeover. Obviously, there was a meeting last week with the Premier League and 7 partners. That's not, we've not heard anything further. Have they been given approval? Haven't they been given approval? I don't know. I have no confidence in them because, especially with all the noise out there regarding legal issues with them, losing credit ratings and everything else regarding it, I'm very concerned about them. What they could do to the club, as much as they put in £190 million, whatever it may be, into the club and the day-to-day operation to keep us going, and not just that, plus the stadium build as well. It's appreciate that okay, they put the money in there, but this is just going on and on and on, and we need clarity. And for me as a fan, for me to talk about the future, where we want to be in the summer going forward, we need that clarification. Obviously, we're waiting for the points. If we're going to get any points deduction from the second breach, hopefully we'll find out April time. I think on that. but this takeover needs to happen. I know with Paul the Esk, if you listen to his Talking the Blues podcast on Monday with George and Andy, please take a listen to it. It's fantastic. It's always a good listen, especially about the takeover and about 77 Partners and about the whole ins and outs. I'm not a big finance guy, but it was a good listen regarding the future of the club. And I know Paul said within the podcast that there is interest out there. There's one interested party that is interested in wanting to take over, but he said he can't. He's not. They're not naming themselves or anything like that. My feeling is, of course, at the moment, I just wish that they can, unless they have talked to Mashiri, I don't know. They need to make themselves known in a sense and just say that, or somebody saying that, yes, there's interest, they want to take over. They're just waiting to see this approval, but it's dragging on. And for me, it's going to drag on and on and on. I just hope something is found. If they're not getting approval, we move on. And I believe Mashiri, if it was to happen that way, from what Paul said and what being said, that he will continue to pay, the club and keep the club going if we don't get approval from 777 Partners. But Mashiri, if he has got somebody else saying to him, look, this is what we want to do, we want to take over, we've got whatever, something has to give soon. And I mean soon. We can't, this dragging on. We're in March now. We're going to be in April, near the end of the season. This is dragged on for nearly 6 and a bit months. And, we need clarity on that. And the big thing for me is, as soon as we get that approval, if it is them, if it's somebody else, as soon as that comes in, my feeling is that they have to come in. Obviously, we need new CEO, complete reset. And I know last June when I started this podcast, I wanted a reset then. We had MSP at that point who were going to put a stake into the club or what's going to happen, but obviously it didn't. And at that point in time, I wanted the board to be gone. I wanted the owner to, bring MSP in, start changing, resetting the club and getting the club in the right places going forward. The stadium is being built and it's continuing to be built and hopefully it'll be completed. But, I wanted to come on here and talk positively about that stadium in a way. It's fantastic and I can't wait to get moving. I'll talk about that more probably in the next podcast and try and be positive about the club going what could be. So I'll do that in the next podcast next Monday. But this is it. And my feel a reset has to happen. Reset at board level, reset in the communications. Every department needs to be sorted, and that's not just in a commercial sense, club sense, the business side of this. We need a reset completely, and we need new people in, externally coming in, with new ideas, new ways, with a mentality that is a winning mentality, that we want this club to actually be back where it belongs. And that, what we are, Neil Sattis needs to up to, nothing but the best is good enough. That is what we have to aim for and be, because it doesn't feel like that at the moment. That needs to be taken away at this moment. Shouldn't have that on the badge, because that's what we are not. That we don't feel that we are not that. We are currently a club struggling, a club that's going downwards, and the mentality is terrible off the field and on the field, because that's what I'm seeing on the field as well. The mentality of these players is not good enough, and the mentality of its manager who has come in to do one specific job, and that is to keep the club up and to keep it sustainable and to keep it in the Premier League. That's his job, and that's why he was given a contract to do so. And he's kept us up. He's got us in a certain way, but he can only go so far. So my feeling is simple. Off the field, we need new CEO, new directors. We need new director of football. We need new academy people coming in. We need a new infrastructure throughout the club, off the field and on it. And the mentality of the people that we bring in are winners. People who want to win football matches, want to win trophies. You have to give that mindset. They come in and they expect that. So when you're expecting that, and that's not just in the academy or at the beginning, and not just the under 23s and then coming on to the first team, it also has to be off the field when it comes to the CEO, anybody that is coming in to take that club. The mentality has to be winning one. And if we're moving into the stadium, the new stadium, where we're going to get more revenue from there, whatever the naming rights. So when it comes to off field, it's going to be like sponsorships and everything else. We have to go for the best that we can get to maximise what Everton Football Club is. Because Everton Football Club, its history is that we are winners. That's the winning mentality of our history. We've won titles, we've won trophies, we've been at the top end of it. Our history indicates that. We are going through a really, really bad time of it at the moment. And the way of the world in the Premier League and way other fans from other clubs and wherever they look at Everton, yes, they've got a stadium, an old stadium. Yes, they've got a big fan base. Yes, they won trophies, but they've not won trophies for how many years? 95 was the last time we won a trophy. And we've not been anywhere since. We've been close under David Moore in his time when we did have a team and we were punching above our weight, as everybody was calling it. There was potential there to grow, but we never grew. We just had a team that kept on going. We got into Europe, but the people at the top end of the club, and Bill Kenwright, and the people under the Moyes era didn't have the ability or seem to lose their mentality of that winning feeling of wanting to win trophies, wanting it. And the people on the board, like Ben Kenwright and so forth, their mentality was wrong. It was just to survive, just to keep on going, just to stay in the Premier League, keep on getting the money from the prize money and getting into Europe and, getting little moments like that. But since Moshiri's come in and the 7 years, 8 years, we've had nothing. And we're just going down trajectory, can get the words out, going downwards and downwards and downwards. And it keeps them pushing down. And it's got to a stage like it is. Errors that they made and why we got breaches and, getting points deductions and all sorts of ins and outs and all the problems that we have currently. When I started this podcast, it was the hope that when I spoke on there and talking about Everton was the hope that we can reset then, get the right people in, do the right thing, start changing the infrastructure, start doing something positively. Because if you get it right with Everton Football Club, the world's your oyster. We can go right to the top again. But we need the right people. And as I say about the takeover, are they the right people? We don't know. And I just hope that if it's them, that they come in and they just change the whole thing and bring that winning mentality into that football club. And that means the likes of Sean Dyche, no disrespect to him, he's done a good job and in the circumstances that he's been given. And Kevin Farewell, well, if you look at the players that he's brought in, they're obviously not working at the moment and they're not doing, okay, he's had things against him, obviously he's had his hands tied behind his back trying to get players in, but we've always seemed to be getting third-rate players. Beto, you can get Beto, we'll let him go to you, and you can pay in a year's time. But he's not. How old is he? He's not potential. Chimiti is, and the same scenario. Hopefully, he'll become potentially a good player for us. further down the line. We need to get him to there. That's why he's playing under 23 games. But it's decisions he's made, like the Ashley Youngs, or by getting players on loan, getting frees, and doing things like that. Yeah, Tarkowski's been fantastic for us, and he's been a good signing. But how old is he? No, I'm not using ageism in this. But how old is he? He's not going to go on far too long. James Coleman's not going to go far too long, but he's not even getting games at the moment. And it's just all higgledy-piggledy. We've got academy, we have got players, but somebody has to take the risk. And I just say that in the summer, we get there, and if we're still in the Premier League, we have to say goodbye to Sean Dyche. We have to say goodbye to Kevin Felwell. We have to bring winning managers, or managers or coaches with a mentality of wanting to win, wanting to take this club, start again, and grow us, bring young players in, start a process of looking into the world market and bring players in quite cheaply if we can, if there is money available to do so, and start to build very much like Brighton, but trying to start rebuilding, but also the infrastructures in the academy and so forth. That needs to change as well. We got to see something happening positively, momentumly, that we're seeing something positive and good, and a pattern and a way that we play, because that's not happening. And what I'm seeing is launch the ball by Pickford, hopefully for a drop down. Hopefully we get into position, we can cross the ball, and hope. And it's just like there's no pattern, no play, there's no intensity with that. There's no press with that. It's just like, it's just hoof it and hope. That is not the Premier League. And you can see that from a lot of teams that are playing. Even Luton, who got a point, as much as they're got a point in that game, they're trying. They've got a plan. They've got a process away. Anyway. So yes, that's where I'm at. We've got 3 weeks. So my next podcast next week, I'll try to be positive about what could be. And you never know, by the end of this week, we might find out more about the takeover. And hopefully have some optimism. But next week I'll talk about the new stadium and talk about what to expect when we move in there, and try and be positive about things. We've got no football match to actually talk about, so we don't have to get all gloomy and negative about it. We could talk about that. I just hope when we do come to our next game, that they come back revitalised, refreshed, and ready to go again, and hopefully we can start picking up results. So on that note, thank you very much for listening and watching. Do appreciate the support as per usual. I'm battling today. I've been suffering from Meniere's disease, which is a condition of dizziness and vertigo and hearing loss, and tinnitus, which is ringing in my ear. And I've just got through this 43 minutes without any kind of issue, but I've got a feeling I'll probably get whacked with it later on. I've been battling with it constantly. But again, thank you again for the support. Please give me feedback. Please tell me what you think about the podcast. I want to grow it. I want to get it bigger and better. I want to go as far as I want to be, because I just love talking about the Blues. As much as it's negative at the moment, I just love talking about them. And if you can give me any feedback, would be fantastic. And if you want to come on the podcast, please let me know. I want to do more of that as well. So please let me know if you would like to come on, talk about the Blues, talk about experiences and everything else. Have a good old rant if you wanted to. Just let me know in the comments below on Spotify, or the comments on X when I put this out later on, or on YouTube. Just let me know what you think, because it's this is not just my thoughts. It's what you think, or what you think about where Everton are going at the moment. Would be, that's what we want to do. We just want the club to go forward in a positive manner, and we can start getting somewhere and moving forward as a club, not just, but as fans as well. And I just want to be positive. I just want to talk about the football, but we also talk about everything else. So on that note, thank you much again. New podcast next Monday. Obviously, I'll talk about the stadium. So, and anything else that's comes up throughout this next few days. So on that note, have a great day. Have a great week. This is the Rambling Toffee signing off. Take care. Bye bye.